Hi, I'm Danny Hollingsworth. We're here on our Cloud Solutions pod at IBC 2018. We're on the Avid booth, obviously, and we're looking at our new cloud services and solutions offerings. So we have a couple of things to look at. One of those things is looking at cognitive services, and the other thing is to look at archiving to the cloud. So let's have a look at archiving first. So if we come over and have a look here, we're looking at our Media Central Cloud UX system. So this is a system where we can find media, we can search for media, we can then edit, publish out to Twitter, Facebook, our video playback servers, obviously. But what we're going to look at specifically here is actually archiving. So this is a system which is actually locally deployed here at IBC. So we have a local Media Central system, and you can see here I'm in my production management database, and I'm looking at some of my media. So I've got some nice media here of one of our editors who's we maybe finished doing some work here and we actually want to send this and archive this. Now traditionally, if I was to send this to an archive, I would have maybe a tape library or something on premise potentially, which I have to maintain, and I have to build, and I have to have all these servers in my database, in my data center, taking up cooling, storage, things like that. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to archive this, but we're going to archive it to a cloud system. So this is a system that is completely deployed in Microsoft Azure through Avid, and we're utilizing our own Media Central Cloud UX to do that. So from a user perspective, it's seamless. It feels like it's a local system, but it happens to be somewhere else. So let's have a little look at that. So now I've found my media here. I can right-click it, and you see we get this nice actions menu, and I have an archive master clip. So I'm now going to send this master clip to the archive. Now remember, this is actually going up to Azure. This is not going to a local system here. And when I click OK, you can see on the left here we have a second database. Now this is our shared library database. So this is shared library on demand. So this is our archive. Now I can see if I go to the process tab here, you can actually see the process has been kicking off, and this is our archive process now happening, going up to this cloud archive. And then when it's there, I can obviously try and find it as well. So actually maybe I want to do a restore now. So I'm on the other end of the scale, and I maybe potentially at some point, this could actually be, rather than just a single production system going to a single archive, could be multiple production systems all utilizing that single cloud archive. So potentially this could be another site where they're going in now and they're going to go and try and find that material. So I can go and see, and I can go and search here for my material. So I was looking for Assassin, and you can see we get all of our material. Now some of this is on our local system, and some of this is actually on our archive system. So for the archive material here, I can see this clip here is in the archive. I can right click now, and you can see I actually get a restore asset. So I can now pull that back down to my local system and carry on working with it. So this is archiving in the cloud. It's called Shared Library on Demand. And this will be available coming soon as an on-demand service in the cloud. The next service we want to take a quick look at is how do we actually enrich that metadata? So maybe it's got to the archive, but how do I actually find it? So you saw I actually searched for the name of the clip because I knew it, but what if I don't know the name? What if I only know who's in the material? Maybe I want to find a person to cut an interview with, so maybe I want to find... I'll tell you what we're going to do, let's go and have a look at it. So let's jump in here and have a look at another system here. So you can see here I've got my search app open at the top, so I'm in the search app, and now I'm going to actually look for myself. So let's try and find a clip of Danny. So now when I run a search for Danny, we get some results back. Now this is material that's been indexed by Microsoft's cognitive services, and this will be available as an on-demand service through Avid. So my material's gone there and it's been run through the index, and we've got the metadata back into our system with our original assets all on our original system. And you can see we here have a clip at the bottom here that doesn't have Danny in the name. Danny is not in the name there, but it's found it. How has it found it? And you'll notice, hopefully you're watching the video carefully, that's me. And how has it found me? So we see we have a different hits tab here, and within there we can see different types of metadata, and one of those is face detection. So now if I go to the face detection tab, you can see it has my name, Danny Hollingsworth. That's how does it know who I am? So effectively, that media has gone through the cognitive services, been run through the index, and it finds a face. Now, initially it will say it's an unknown face. We've obviously told the index that this face is Danny. So now anytime we upload a clip with Danny in, it will obviously have that name associated. It's also found it somewhere else though. It's not just facial recognition. If I go to the main OCR here, it's also optical character recognition. So this is reading text from the screen. So now if I double click the name Danny there, it takes me to the frame where it's actually reading my show badge here, and it actually says Danny Hollingsworth. And you can see it's actually found the word Danny on that piece of text there, and then presented that back as metadata for me. So you can see we can do really rich, searching here. So we can search on facial recognition, optical character recognition, also things like image recognition. So if I go and have a look at the image recognition here, you can say, okay, this is a person. It's indoors. We might say that they're wearing a hat, maybe things like that. We can find what's actually in the image as well. So you can imagine now, by themselves these things seem quite simple, but imagine how powerful this is to have initially archived our media using Avid Shared Library on Demand, but then to use Avid AI on Demand as well to actually then further the metadata that we have there, and further implement some really interesting metadata so that we can then find stuff. So I could run a search for someone saying something on a certain day with certain weather. Were they happy? Were they sad? Things like that, which is really powerful for people to be able to find material that maybe had no metadata on before. So firstly, we can archive into the cloud, and secondly, we can enrich our metadata in the cloud. These are just the beginnings of what we're trying to do with our cloud services and solutions. Going forward, we've got a whole roadmap into the cloud, and there's a big future for us in the cloud, and we know that for a lot of customers it's really important, and actually it's the future for where we're heading. So you'll see more as we go in through the year, and obviously into the beginning of next year. But this is what we're showing at IBC 2018. So still time. Come down to the booth. Come have a chat with us. We can take you through all of our cloud services and solutions. I do have one more thing. What about Media Composer? So people say, can I run a Media Composer in the cloud? That's the dream, right? Actually, we can show that. So now if I go over here, you can see I have a PC over IP client on my machine here. Now if I double click that and load it, I'm going to run my PC over IP client. It's connecting. Where is it connecting? It's not connecting to a Media Composer locally. This is a Media Composer running entirely in the cloud. So while this loads up, you can see here we now have a Media Composer. This is my Media Composer project. You can see I have my bin here, and inside my bin I have all of my assets. And you can see this is a Media Composer running in the cloud. This is not locally installed. This is all from Azure, Microsoft Azure Data Center. Also, not just Media Composer, but our Nexus as well. So actually our shared storage is actually running in the cloud as well. So you can see here down the bottom I have my Nexus running. So what this means is this is Nexus running on top of Azure storage, so our file system running in the cloud. This is really powerful. This is really the next stage for us. This is talking about the entire production being in the cloud, not just a few services and a few parts of the solution, but the entire solution all running in the cloud. So you could spin up Media Composers, Nexus. You could use them for a few months. When you're done, spin them down, spin up a whole entire production environment, and when you're finished, spin that down. So this is really the future. This is where we're going, and this is where we'll see more of this as we go into into next year as well. So, like I said, we're here at IBC 2018. We're on the booth. Come down and have a chat with us before we're finished.